Hello guys. I decided I want to do something different. I've got something I wrote about 7 years ago that I would share with you guys. Um, it was it started off originally as it was going to be a song, but then I realized that I was better suited. It was going to be better suited as a story of some sort. And I decided, actually, it was even cruder than that. I was going to develop into a short play. That's what it seemed like it fit into better. The name of the story, name of the play is Peter. It's loosely based on the Peter's denial of Christ, but updated to our time. The four main characters in the story. The main character is Peter Stone. He is a fisherman by trade. His son is Petra Stone. The senior pastor of Peter's church is Christian Josephson. And the last character is a church deacon by the name of Jude Trader. Now this takes place. The setting of this is surrounding Olive Tree Baptist Church in a fictitious town of Gethsemane, Massachusetts, a fishing town near Cape Cod. Now the story opens to a man telling a bedtime story about Peter's denial of Christ to his son. As he begins the story, the scene fades to biblical times and we see the event taking place. When the story is complete, he asks his son if he understands the moral of the story, and unexpectedly his son says, "I think the moral is sometimes it's better not to be a hothead." He laughs and tucks his son in, and then as he lies in his own bed, he ponders his son's answer until he falls asleep. Now the next morning, he makes breakfast and gets the both of them ready for church. Through conversations at church, we learn that his name is Peter Stone. His son's name is Petra. He is one of the associate pastors of the church, and his wife died just a few years ago. And before he became a pastor, he worked at the local on the local fishing boats. After the pastor completed the church message, Peter reminds two church members about Bible study at the pastor's house on Tuesday night. Then Christian has a private meeting with Peter where he explains how the city and police have been threatening him about the Ten Commandments sign and a large cross on the front lawn of the church. To which Peter says, "I have been by your side since you first started this church 6 years ago, and I will stay by your side no matter what happens." Now comes the side story. A deacon in the church by the name of Jude has been having a secret affair. When this is discovered and brought to Christian's attention, Christian decides to discuss the matter with him because it has affected Jude's testimony and caused rumors in the congregation. To which he scolds Jude because of his position as a deacon. Jude gets bitterly offended and storms out. Being a police officer, Jude uses his pole to spread rumors that Christian is spreading hate in his messages. Now fast forward to Tuesday night. Church members gather at Christian's house for the Bible study, and police show up, and Jude accuses Christian of spreading hate and collecting money for his own use. The police arrest Christian under two laws, one for hate crimes by a religious organization and the other for profiting from a tax-exempt corporate organization. While the police are arresting Christian, we discover Peter is the hothead his son was referring to because he begins to fight one of the police officers and breaks his nose. Christian yells out to Peter, "Stop the violence!" and then turns and says a quick prayer over the injured officer as Peter runs off in fear. On his way home on the sidewalk, a man says, "Hey, don't you go to that church on the news?" To which Peter replies, "I'm a fisherman. I'm too busy for that stuff." Then halfway home, another man yells out, "Don't you know that Josephson fellow?" Peter replied, "Who's that?" As he walks up to his house, a woman from the neighborhood yelled to an officer, "Hey, he's the pastor of Olive Tree. I've seen him there." Peter exclaimed, "It's impossible. I've never been there." Then just as he looked up to see his son Petra in the window, a rooster crowed, and he recalls the story he had read Petra, and runs away. Fade out, and the next scene fades in, and you see Peter as he runs down an alley, and with exhaustion, he sighs and lays down to fall asleep in the corner of the alley. As he sleeps, he dreams that the woman who accused him turns around, and he realizes it's his wife. And she says to him, "It is God's will, so why do you fight it? Remember above all else, thy will be done. Pray to God and you will understand." Then suddenly Peter wakes up with a shudder, and as he is walking down Main Street, he prays to God to show him what his wife was trying to tell him, and what he is to do. Then he notices a homeless man lying in the middle of the street, beaten and unconscious, so he stops to help him. When the man comes around, he thanks Peter and walks away. As he walks away, Peter hears the man whisper, "I have forgiven you completely. Christian will as well." But when Peter turns to look back, the stranger had vanished, and all that remained was an old blood-stained rusty nail lying in the middle of the street. Peter goes home and shows Petra the nail and tells his son a new story about God's forgiveness. Then the scene fades to a flashback where Christian is telling Peter if for some reason he gets arrested, that he wants Peter to take his place in his absence. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I'll see you next time.